with someone and you are unable to exhibit any empathy, then you are not thinking logically.
I got this all the damn time from my partner that he was thinking logically and I wasn't because I was having emotions. And his inability to be able to sit with those emotions and confront those emotions was him being logical and me being illogical for having them in the first place. This creator talks about how not being able to hold emotions and look at them from a logical perspective is in fact illogical. And this was after me basically giving my partner the guidebook to understand my emotions. I was defining things for him like inner child, conflict resolution, taking a moment, avoidant, anxious attachment, how to come in the middle and meet. Even after all of this education, he still could not get past the point that he was being logical and I was being illogical for having basic emotions. So all I can surmise, because he was an intellectual person and I was basically giving him the guidebook to understand my emotions, his refusal to look at my emotions and try to show up for me in those emotions was ego. His ego would not allow him to try to connect with me on that level. He would always use excuses such as, I'm just sick of not being enough. I just want peace. I think if he were to put his ego aside and look at himself and why it was making him so uncomfortable, my display of emotions, he would see that it's because he himself has not dealt with his own deep emotions. When having to confront my deep emotions, he had to look at his shadow parts as well. What was I mirroring back to him? My need for comfort in the moment and his inability to give that to me. What did that say about him and his emotional health? How did caregivers show up for him when he had emotional moments and needed support? My guess is they probably didn't show up for him. And so it was never modeled to him how to show up for me. And instead of seeing that as an ego bruise, look at it as an opportunity to grow. I was willing to grow with him. I was willing to give him support as he navigated those painful mirrors. He would not take the call to rise. He would not take the call to face himself, face those things that had damaged him and made him unavailable to really open his heart and show up in a relationship in an emotional way. I was not expecting perfection. I was just expecting him to show up and want to grow next to me. This utter refusal from men to do this work is exactly why we're at this crux. We are at this impasse with men and women. We've been doing this work for years because we were not disembodied from our emotions from a young age. We also have tons of girlfriends, and when we're with our friends, we talk about these things. We iron out our emotions. We become self-aware. Men do not have that with other men, and they refuse to have it with women. It is honestly through relationship with a good embodied woman that these men can heal. They also need to do their side work, therapy, reading, podcasts, etc. But a relationship can truly expand a man's mind.